Welcome to the Tuesday edition of the St. Mark Spark. It is Fat Tuesday. It is Shrove Tuesday. It is the day of being absolved of sins. It's also a day of feasting. Before we go into 40 days of penitence, 40 days of introspection, 40 days of being intentional about the things of life, intentional about the things of death, and intentional about the things of resurrection. So we find ourselves right now on the precipice of a big journey. Now, every time that there's a big journey ahead, I have a very difficult time sleeping the night before. I'm worried that I have forgotten something. I'm worried that I'm going to oversleep. I'm worried that somehow or another we're going to miss the plane, or we're somehow be delayed in getting from point A to point B. Maybe the point of today's spark is the question of what it looks like to make a straight path, to prepare, to get ready for the journey upon which we are about to tread. Now, not everybody really pays attention to Lent, and much of the outside world just simply goes about life as normal. I encourage you, Lent is my favorite season of the year, bar none, by far. I love it, and I also, in many ways, kind of want it to speed by because we give up things during Lent, and you find yourself longing for these items or longing for these activities. But in that longing, every time you feel that longing of saying, "Oh, I wish I could have this. I wish I could have that soda or that cup of coffee or that chocolate or whatever it is," whenever you do that, it is a chance also to give thanks to God for all that God already provides. I don't always quote Mick Jagger in the Spark or Sunday sermons, but one of can't always get what you want. Sometimes you just might find you get what you need. Lent is about figuring out what we need, about those things that matter, those things that are eternal, those things that God provides that we look over, 320 days, but for 40 days we're called to pay attention. Our scripture today is from John chapter 1, verses 19 through 28. Listen now as God speaks the word. This sent priests and Levites from Jerusalem to ask him, "Who are you?" Not deny it, but confessed, "I am not the Messiah." And they asked, "What then? Are you Elijah?" He said, "I am not." "Are you the prophet?" He answered, "No." Then they said to him, "Who are you? Let us have an answer for those who sent us." Yourself, he said, "I am the voice of one crying out in the wilderness. Make straight the way of the Lord, as the prophet Isaiah said." Now, they had been sent from the Pharisees. They asked him, "Why then, if you are neither the Messiah, nor Elijah, nor the prophet?" John answered them, "I baptize with water. Among you stands one whom you do not know, the one who is coming after me. I am not worthy to untie the thong of his sandal." This took place in Bethany, across the Jordan, where John was baptizing. Words speak to our hearts, our minds, our spirits. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Last Sunday we had Transfiguration Sunday, and in some ways, there's a bit of that we see in the world today, in the world right now here in St. Louis, but also covering most of a large section of the United States, about the snow we got last night. The groundhog was not lying about 6 more weeks of winter when he saw the shadow, or didn't see the shadow. I forget how that works out. Somebody in the comments can certainly correct me on that. But winter, we're getting 3 years worth of winter, it feels like, in 3 days. Yesterday was rough. Yesterday was difficult to get around. You talk about in the passage, make straight paths. Well, When I was driving into church, when I was driving Amelia and taking her a few different places, thank God for all-wheel drive, but also recognize there's not a straight path, because in many places you can't even see where the road stops and the curb begins, or the side of the road begins. It was curvy, it was slick. So much of life feels like it's been like that for the last year, about not really knowing of how the best way to get from point A to point B. And yet we find ourselves today. Yesterday the sun was not out at all. Today the sun is out. It is bright. And with the white of the snow everywhere, it is brilliant. It is blinding. It's beautiful. We talked about on Sunday about the transfiguration of Jesus and how he became dazzling white, brighter than any bleach could possibly make a garment. And the closest thing I can think of is looking out at the world and seeing the light reflected on the snow. And yet we know we're not out of winter. And yet we know that we are not even into Lent yet. What can we learn here and now? Well, it is that brightness, that thing to which we look towards. We know that we're entering into what really amounts to 40 days of night, of penitence, and of self-introspection, of working on spiritual discipline. We know that is coming. In many ways, that's night. It is a night that lingers. But the light for which we long, the light for which we look toward, the light for which we hope is the light that breaks at the dawn on Easter Sunday. That light that says resurrection is mysterious, but resurrection is here. That light that says that the stone has been rolled away. And praying the stone is rolled away from our eyes as well. The people came from Jerusalem. The powerful people were sent these scribes and others to John the Baptist and asked, "Are you the guy? Are you the Messiah?" And he says, "No." Well, that's something what Lent also is supposed to refine off of us. It's supposed to burn away off of us. It's supposed to peel off of us the idea that we are God of our own lives. This last year, if it's taught us nothing else, again, it teaches how little control we have over our lives. And one of the first things we need to let go of if we want to be taken hold of by God is the idea that we are God's over our life, that we have control over our life. It is in surrendering our life that we will discover it. Jesus said it much better. He said, those who want to save their lives will lose it. Those who want to save the idea that they are in control, the idea that they have the power, if you try, if that's what you're working for, you're going to lose it. But those who lose their lives for my sake and the sake of the gospel will find it. Will find the life that truly is life, the life that is abundant, the life that is eternal. This is the first thing of Lent, the first thing, the question of John. Are you the Messiah? Maybe the same question for us. Are you the chosen one? And the answer is, we're not. But yet we are loved by God. And yet we are chosen by God. And yet by a spirit of adoption, we are called children of God. And in that identity, in letting go of our own self-control, we find ourselves with everything that cannot be bought, everything that cannot be purchased, with that identity, with that assurance. So if you're feeling anxious right now, if you're feeling melancholy right now, if you're feeling sick in spirit right now, my hope, my prayer for you and for myself, for all of us, is that we will simply let go. Let go of all these preconceptions that the world puts on us. We will let go and let God fill that void. Let God take over. They asked John, are you Elijah? Are you someone else? And John's honest. He just says, I'm the one baptizing with water, but there's someone coming after me. There's someone who's coming after, who's not worthy to untie. I'm telling you, as we get ready for this Lenten journey, beginning tomorrow with Ash Wednesday in our service at 7 p.m., you're welcome to join us online. We'd love to have you with us. This service being a little different because we have to impose our own ashes or dust or dirt or whatever we have on our forehead in the mark of the cross. In that service, in that beginning of this 40-day journey, we're journeying towards a truth that is bigger than us, that is greater than us. We just need to surrender to that, to keep walking towards that, to take off all those things that are not God, and to be filled with all those things that are eternal. Again, I look forward to this 40-day journey with you. We're going to be stepping up the spark a little bit more. It's going to happen more than just Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We're not sure exactly how that's going to look, but we're going to focus primarily on reading the four Gospels over the next 40 days. We're going to have a reading plan we're going to post today. It starts off with Matthew with the first three chapters tomorrow, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to be in conversation with the text and with one another. And then as we go closer to God through this, we go closer to one another through this, we go closer to the truth of the life that really is life. So I really pray that you consider being a part of this. I pray that God is with you this Shrove Tuesday, this Fat Tuesday, this Mardi Gras, but all the more that God is with us throughout these next 40 days as we start in ashes, but we celebrate in resurrection. May God be with you, my friends.